Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won. Many stones do form an arch. Sing we none, sing we none, and by union what we will.
Could you start to make your way through to the auditorium now, please? Thank you.
My name is Ariana G, and I'd like to thank you for being here on this 100th anniversary of International Women's Day. It's a very, very special day. You may like to know that this is being celebrated all over the world. In particular, this type of event, the Bridges of Peace. There are 289 Bridges of Peace around the whole world being held today. And of course the reason why we're here is that this is not only a celebration, but it's also to show solidarity and to call for an end to violence to women in war-torn countries. I think a lot of you have already signed the petition, but if those of you haven't, I really urge you to do so. It's a petition that's going to go to the Foreign Secretary, William Hague, and it's calling for urgent action for Afghan women to be involved in their own peace process. So now, can we have the film, please?
15 years ago, Bosnia was in the midst of a horrific ethnic cleansing. The killing would last 4 years. Rape was a weapon of war. As many as 50,000 women were raped and tortured, many held captive in rape camps for months. Zainab Salbi, a young Iraqi woman living in the US, read about the war and watched as the international community failed to respond.
Having lived in Iraq, I know what it feels to be in war, and you feel isolated and you feel the world has forgotten about you. It was my personal responsibility to do something about it when I could.
What we've seen is incredibly moving, but that issue, particularly around domestic violence, is one not only in countries like Rwanda and Bosnia and so forth, but it's actually here at home as well. We know that 1 in 4 women in Britain will suffer from domestic violence sometime in her life. So I think that our experiences are actually perhaps more common than we might think, and that potential to build bridges, to build solidarity, is perhaps so much higher than we ever imagine until we start to do it. Here in the UK, for example, women working full-time are paid on average 15% less an hour than men for doing the same work of the same value. Now, is that what we mean by equality? I don't think so. If you're a woman trying to juggle a family and a professional life, then childcare provision often falls far short of what's needed. It can be very expensive. Is that what we mean by equality? I don't think so. Company boardrooms are still highly male-dominated. Only 1 in 8 directors of the FTSE 100 companies are women. More than half of the population is female, yet women hold only 19% of the world's parliamentary seats. In the UK Parliament, men outnumber women 5 to 1, relegating us to a shocking 52nd place in the world when it comes to female parliamentary representation. Actually, even Rwanda and Afghanistan do better than here in the UK when it comes to the representation of women in Parliament. So much for the mother of all parliaments. We've got a bit of work to do on that one, I think. In fact, 75% of the civilians killed in war are women and children. And that's why today I think it is especially important to remember those of our sisters battling not with guns and tanks, but against the damage caused by them. And that damage is especially keenly felt by the women of Afghanistan, 100 of whom will today stand on a bridge in Kabul to demand a seat on the High Peace Council. Now, the High Peace Council, known as the Jirga, has 70 members, but only 10 of them are women. And so we join our sisters in Afghanistan in calling for an equal role for women in building a secure, peaceful future for the country. And we join them too in opposing a law that plans to put increased power into the hands of traditional local councils in Afghanistan, potentially undermining women's rights, especially in justice cases. In 100 years, we have achieved a lot together, and I know that you'll join with me to pay tribute to every single woman, the vast majority of those whose efforts go largely unrecognised, that make up our powerful movement for equality. I wish you a very, very happy International Women's Day.
Step by step, the longest march.
I'd now like to introduce Caroline Lucas, the leader of the Green Party.
I just want to say how wonderful you all look from here, with the lights sparkling. And it really does feel like a celebration of the 100th anniversary of International Women's Day. And I think today is a time to really celebrate what's been achieved. And so I hope that as we go into a minute's silence, to remember all of the women all around the world who are struggling against violence and oppression. Maybe some of those images from the film can stay with us as we think of those women. And at the same time, to think about the positive impact each and every one of us can make. I think so. Let's remember those women and let's celebrate what we've done so far. A minute's silence.
Step by step, the longest march can be won, can be won.